And that implies, I would say, at least linear scaling or maybe above. And they all said that. And so if the comment, that you read earlier is true and that they're not getting the benefit, there are implications. It doesn't mean AI is in trouble or AI is done. I mean, there's tons of positive AI news out there, but it may mean we're shifting directions, and it's worth, I think, talking about, well, if this is true, what are the implications?
Right, no doubt about it. And Jensen did just say on the NVIDIA call, he basically said there is no slowdown, but he did say that foundation model pre-training is only one vector of scaling. You obviously have post-training scaling, and now we have inference time reasoning that will scale.
Yep.
We have data and data quality that will scale. So I think that, it is a question as we look at in the early phases over the last 24 months, everybody was mesmerized by these evals on pre-training. And then I think a lot of people mistakenly, and we'll get to this later, a lot of people mistakenly said, if the pre-training ever slows down, this is horrible for NVIDIA because the only reason NVIDIA is going up is because people are buying these big clusters to do pre-training, which also isn't entirely true. But I do think it's important to recognize, right, that as you scale up pre-training, a lot of the low-hanging fruit was plucked. And so it makes sense to me that you're seeing a deceleration in the rate of improvement of the pre-training. But when you look in the aggregate at all these various vectors on which we're scaling intelligence, on a combinatorial basis, it may be just as good or even better. But I think it's important, to your point, like, let's steelman the argument. Let's assume that we do, kind of run out of improvements or see a significant deceleration in the pre-training improvements on these models. What do you think that means? Like, who are the people who are hurt by that? Who are the people who are helped by that?
The first thing that comes to my mind, and once again, I'm not asking you to agree with this, it's just like what's in my head, is that this is not the expectation that Sam and Dario had 12 months ago. Like, because they were promoting a thesis that it was just going to keep going up and up, and they were willing to put 10x over and over again on the size of the cluster they were going to train on. And if it's a shift, and it may very well be a shift that leads to insane innovation and continued growth, blah, 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 I still think it's a surprise shift. Like, I don't think it was what was expected. And so I think that's worth acknowledging if that's what happened. Two other things that I think are, let's just call them questions that are raised. One, the NVIDIA differentiation, as we've talked about, is greatest at the largest cluster size. So if pre-training, once again, I only equate this to LLMs, I don't think of FSD problem. I think that is more of a core AI problem, and that thing may scale way beyond where it is today. But for LLMs, at least, if we've hit a cap, then does that impact NVIDIA demand at all for the bigger systems?